The worst among us often seem to triumph, yet the universe settles it dead quietly. Not in the public eye. A man of wisdom doesn't chase vengeance. He observes, while you find peace in healing, the cosmos works its justice, and it never errs. You might think they've escaped their lies, betrayals, and manipulations. They walk away as if untouched, but something has shifted in the stars. The universe now speaks to them in a language only karma understands, silent whispers they feel daily. Though no one hears, in this video, you'll learn 5 subtle signs that someone is facing the consequences of how they treated you. Not in the spotlight, not in courts, but in their private lives, within their minds, in those quiet moments when no one watches. This isn't about revenge. This is about truth. And truth speaks louder than any shout. Its voice is silence. Nothing weighs heavier than pretending you're fine when you're not. The cosmos doesn't care for facades. The universe works through emotions when no one's looking. The first sign that karma is at quiet work is when they act as if life has never been better. The one who vanished, who betrayed your trust, who dragged you down and blamed you, they now seem to shine. They post new images daily, laughing in places you never shared, with people who weren't there when you were. If you're not careful, you'll believe it. You'll scroll through their curated moments and think, maybe they're truly happier without me. But here's the truth, no filter can hide it. Genuine contentment doesn't need a stage. False happiness does. You've seen this before. They go quiet for days after the fallout. Then, suddenly, an explosion of posts, photos, stories, inspirational quotes, staged selfies, a campaign to seem radiant. One moment, they're destroying something real. The next, they're hashtagging healing with someone new, as if their wrongs never touched them. But look closer. The smile's too wide. The eyes are distant. True peace doesn't shout, but insecurity always does. Epictetus taught that what matters isn't what happens to you, but how you respond. Marcus Aurelius said the best revenge is to not become the one who hurt you. That's why a wise man doesn't argue, doesn't retaliate, doesn't chase their story for closure. He watches, for true peace isn't performed. It simply is. The more they try to prove they've moved on, the more they haven't. The universe doesn't announce its justice. It arrives quietly each night as they lie awake. Realizing the person they've become is why they lost someone who wished them no harm. No post, no forced joy. No new lover can drown out a conscience that knows it broke something real. Let them smile for the camera, for you know the truth. The heaviest lie is pretending you're at peace. The universe doesn't always strike with thunder. Sometimes it begins with a slow erosion, a quiet loss of what they thought would never leave. The second sign someone is facing karma is when the universe starts reclaiming what they took for granted. You might expect karma to arrive loudly, accidents, heartbreak, betrayal. But the cosmos is subtler. It doesn't roar. It doesn't make a scene. It quietly subtracts. So gently they barely notice at first. Small things slip away. A friend stops replying. A colleague loses trust. An opportunity vanishes without reason. They shrug it off as life, bad luck, or coincidence, until the pattern repeats endlessly. In time, they stand amid the ruins of what they once mocked, ignored, or undervalued. They may have called you too emotional, said you cared too much, or overreacted, when in truth, you were the only one acting from the heart. You tried. You stayed up late, consoling them in their darkest moments. You forgave when they overlooked your worth. You trusted them when they didn't trust themselves. And how did they repay you? They sneered. They called you clingy, needy, too soft for this world. They took your presence for granted, not a gift. So, you stopped giving. You ceased fighting for someone who never showed up for you. And quietly, you walked away. At first, they felt free, unarmed, unbothered. But then the silence began to echo. The messages dwindled. Their circles shrank. The people they trusted turned out to be like them, selfish, dismissive, transactional. Suddenly, the choices they thought they had evaporated. The support they once took for granted is gone. The comfort of someone who truly cared is irreplaceable, because no one can fill the space you held for them, especially not someone new who only knows the version of them still pretending to be whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't waste time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The universe removes what doesn't align with truth. When someone mistreats a good person, they don't just betray you, they betray the version of themselves that once had peace, patience, forgiveness, and depth. The universe doesn't punish with obvious pain. It shows them what they chose to lose, forcing them to live without it. Each room feels colder. Every new relationship feels fragile. Every victory feels hollow because, deep down, they know they once had something real and let it slip away. Let them lose it. Let them learn. Let them look around and see that nothing in this world is as sacred or secure as what they had with you. For the universe doesn't just take material things, it takes the version of themselves that held your love. No matter how they try to rebuild, they'll never reclaim that peace. When someone speaks in circles but you remain the center of their thoughts, the universe has begun its quiet work in their mind. The third sign of karma is when you linger in their thoughts. They won't say your name openly, but listen closely. They post vague quotes on social media, subtle jabs about betrayal, loyalty, fake people, or healing from the past. They drop hints in stories like, "Some will never grasp what they lost," or, "Not everyone deserves my energy anymore." At first, you might think it's just talk, but you know their language. You recognize their patterns. You sense the guilt beneath their words. You felt it before, scrolling through their timeline. You spot a post like a veiled confession wrapped in poetry. They don't name you, but every line carries your presence without saying it. They're trying to reach you without admitting it. That's not strength. It's not healing. It's a conscience crying out through the cracks of a crumbling ego. Their friends may not notice. Others may miss it. But you see it, because you once cared enough to know even their silences. And now those silences are screaming back at them. For the universe doesn't always punish with events. Sometimes it punishes with obsession, uncontrollable thoughts, regrets that can't be swallowed, memories they thought faded but can't escape. A wise man doesn't seek revenge. He doesn't respond. He doesn't fire back with cryptic words. Responding gives them power, but silence reclaims it. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks ill of you, live so no one believes it." So when they talk in circles or behind your back, don't answer. Don't explain. Don't defend. Let them carry your name in silence. for their veiled words reveal the truth. You've moved on, but they haven't. Let them post their quotes, half-truths, and distorted stories. Let them shout to drown out the fact they're not healed. You don't need to step into their world to live in their mind. That's the universe at work. And the mind is the loudest prison, especially when the one you hurt doesn't look back. Stay silent, for silence speaks louder than any retort. When you betray a good man, you don't just lose him, you lose the ability to trust anyone who reminds you of him, even yourself. The fourth sign of karma is when they stop trusting others and, slowly, themselves. At first, it looks like self-protection. They tighten their circle, close their heart, and guard their energy. They say things like, "I don't trust anyone anymore. Everyone's fake." But behind that tough exterior isn't strength, it's fear. Fear born in the shadow of their own guilt. You've seen it. They used to be open, laughed freely, trusted easily, spoke without care. But after what they did to you or others, something shifted, not outwardly, but deep within, quietly. Now they question every motive. They assume betrayal before trust. They scrutinize every word, act, or pause, searching for signs someone might do to them what they did to you. Why? Because they know how much harm they can cause. When you've hurt someone who didn't deserve it, you start believing everyone could destroy you the same way. This is karma's most private punishment, self-doubt. It doesn't isolate with force, but erodes the soul quietly. The voice that once said, "I control everything," now whispers, "Maybe I'm the problem." That thought is terrifying, for once you doubt yourself, peace becomes impossible, no matter how quiet the room. Senetzarot. Those who do wrong rarely trust others, for they know their own capacity. The wise understand this well. They teach that your inner peace is tied to your conscience. If your actions betray your values, you don't just lose others, you lose yourself. That's karma. It doesn't always show in obvious consequences. Sometimes it's a hidden crack in your inner world, a restlessness you can't explain, a tightness in your chest when things seem too perfect, a quiet voice saying, "You don't deserve it." Even when they gain something real, let them sit in that silence. Let them question everyone's motives. Let them fear the shadows they once cast on others. For karma doesn't just haunt with memories, it steals peace through doubt. The harshest prison isn't behind bars, but when your conscience becomes the guard. So, if they can't trust anymore, don't blame them. Don't try to fix them. Don't return to prove not everyone is the same. That's not your burden. Your role was never to redeem those who chose destruction. You offered truth. They answered with betrayal. Now the universe delivers what they deserve. Not chaos, not drama, but the quiet collapse of their own being. Karma doesn't shout. It brings you back to yourself. The fifth and undeniable sign of karma is when the universe sends them someone just like them. Not just a bad relationship, not just the wrong person, but a mirror reflecting every wrong they did to someone who loved them. And this reflection doesn't arrive loudly, it comes softly, charmingly, irresistibly. Just as they once won your trust, they think they've found the one. The connection feels fated, intense, magnetic. But what they don't see is they're not falling for someone new. They're caught in karma's loop, a cycle showing them not the person they love, but the person they used to be. And this time, they're not in control. Remember how they made you feel uncertain. never good enough, despite your efforts. Now they chase replies that never come, wait for calls ignored, post to be seen, only to meet silence. They played games with your heart. Now they're with someone who burns them with indifference, showers them with affection, then pulls back, calling them too sensitive. They mocked your vulnerabilities. Now their openness is ridiculed. They had your loyalty and walked away. Now they beg for commitment from someone already half gone. At first, they make excuses. They say, "This person's troubled, complex, misunderstood." But deep down, a chilling realization creeps in. This is what I did to someone else. They won't admit it, may never say it aloud. But that thought haunts them in quiet moments. It surfaces in the pause before sleep, in the silence after another failed connection. Their pain isn't random or bad luck, it's a pattern, and that's karma's poetic justice. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who hurt you." Yet the universe doesn't seek vengeance, it seeks balance. It restores equilibrium, not by inflicting pain, but by letting them feel the weight of their own choices through someone they can't control, fix, or predict. This isn't punishment, it's perspective. For no lesson is learned more deeply than one felt in the soul. They once laughed at your care, now they ache for someone who ignores them. They dismissed your needs, now they're called demanding by someone stingy with affection. They walked away untouched, now they plead for someone to stay. Respond, or try, and that person just shrugs. And they realize not instantly, but painfully, over time, they're not just hurt. They're seeing their own reflection. And the mirror never lies. Let them meet their match. Let them feel the confusion, helplessness, and pain of being seen, used, and left, just as they did to you. But this time, there's no one to blame, no one to manipulate, no story to twist. For the person on the other side isn't a villain, it's them, in another form, with the same actions. This isn't revenge, it's a reckoning. Karma doesn't roar, strike, or destroy. It reflects. So when they ask why this happens to them, the answer is clear. You're not punished. You're being shown. You don't need to fight those already battling themselves. The universe doesn't need your help. It doesn't need you to strike back, prove your story, or beg the world to see your worth. It asks only one thing from you: your silence, your calm, your refusal to stoop to their level while they're trapped in lies, pride, and schemes. You've stepped into something far stronger: clarity. You see, karma isn't just what happens to them, it's what happens to you. When you let go, you no longer need closure. For peace becomes your resolution. You don't need justice anymore, for time bears witness to all. And you don't need them to feel what they did to you. The universe knows how to teach its lessons. Your task isn't to punish. Your task is to rise, to stand firm, grounded, and strong from within. So no one can shake your peace again. Not even the shadow of those who hurt you can touch it. That's the path of a true man. We don't curse our enemies. We don't chase validation. We walk forward quietly, fortified by discipline that the universe respects. So if you're watching this and someone has hurt you, never apologized, acted blameless, and walked away like you didn't matter, let them go. Though they seem free, they're quietly haunted by one thing: They can't silence the truth. Those who lie to others may sleep well, but those who lie to themselves never rest. If this resonates, don't waste energy chasing the past. Share below which line hit you hardest. Let others know they're not alone. And if you're walking this path of quiet strength, join. Think Stoic 101. We don't just talk about healing, we train the mind to lead, not react. We forge clarity, discipline, and unshakable peace. Let the universe do its work. You keep becoming the man they can't reach anymore. That's not revenge, it's growth. And the world watches in silence, for such maturity speaks louder than any noise.